honestly, there's a lot of negative things to say about Nexus mods. But to put this on them, I don't think it's fair. Like, this is the only exception when I can say, hey, they're a bad website, but a broken clock is right twice a day. This is not something that it's of their doing. Because if you put the blame on them, you actually absolve the blame of the real people. And the real people is the British government. The British government in the latest years have become extremely authoritarian, but more importantly, they're promoting this culture of safetyism. Like, everything has to be safe, and in order for it to be safe, it has to be under the British government control. Whether it's an international website, whether it's your own iPhone. For instance, for those of you who don't know, the British government wanted to have the ability to have a backdoor into Apple's cloud. So basically, every single information that's on your phone, the British government would want to be able to check on it without a warrant, without you doing anything bad. But like, just in case, what if you have some hate speech on your phone? What if you have some naughty things on your phone? Like, the British government has to know. So this is like the culture that they're promoting to the rest of the planet. And similarly, the European Union is also doing something like that. They're starting with, we need to protect the children. They're moving to, we need to fight against terrorism. And then it's going to be expanded to like a complete control over the entire internet. This is why I unironically think that in the case of censorship, the EU and the UK are actually worse than China. Why am I saying that? Well, at least China is censoring the Chinese. Right? Like, if you're in China, the Chinese government censors you, and that's pretty much it. The European Union wants to impose their morality on the world. Like, even if you're in the United States, they want to force the companies from the US to abide by EU standards, or else they will stop doing business with those companies, or they will stop doing businesses with the other companies that do business with the US companies, right? So, like, they have a very powerful way of exercising soft power. Not real power, just soft power. Like, we have a big market of hundreds of millions of people that are wealthy. Either do what we say, or we cut you off. And so you can actually bully a lot of US-based companies that would normally say, well, this is about free speech. Like, no, we don't care. You want to do business in the EU? Do it. And so the US-based companies, they're looking at how much it costs to run the servers, how much it costs to operate their things, and they conclude, like, no, we need the EU, so we're going to actually do what they're asking. The UK is the same, right? So, like, now their entire crusade is against nudity on the internet. Now, I grew up in an internet that didn't have this. Apparently, I grew up just fine. My entire generation grew up just fine. You know, we're not perfect. We're not the utopian generation. We have our ups and downs. But, like, if you look at the Zoomers and you compare it to us, I think, like, we're a little bit more reasonable people. If you look at us and we compare it to the Boomers, again, I think we're a little bit more reasonable people. Like, I'm sorry for shilling for my generation, but, like, compared to what's coming and compared to what was, I think we managed to strike a sweet spot, you know? So the internet wasn't censored. And how did people manage to still cope? Well, usually the blame was put on the parents. Like, it was the parent responsibility to make sure that little Jimmy is not doing bad things on the internet. Now, of course, the argument is like, well, what if the parent is not perfect? And, like, sure, you're not going to get a 100% success rate. But to go from that to the idea that the corporations have to keep the internet safe, I don't think the internet is a lot better now than it used to be honest. And, like, let's stop kidding ourselves. Like, if a 17-year-old, right, like when you were 17, like, you imagine back then, you were 17. If you wanted to see porn, was there any force on planet Earth that could stop you? I personally don't think so. Like, I remember when I was 17, my mom actually wanted to take my computer away. And she would hide the keyboard. I actually went out, I bought a different keyboard, and I would hide that keyboard from my mom. So, like, when my mom was at work, I would plug in the keyboard, I would still use the computer. I would look at the time, 10 minutes as she's coming back. I would close the computer, hide the keyboard that I bought, and then my mom thought that I was actually at home doing my homework. Like, when you say children, it depends. Like, are we talking about 5-year-old or 6-year-old, or are we talking about 17? Because if it's 17, like, no amount of safetyism is going to prevent that 17 from doing whatever the fuck they want to do on the internet. The only way you can prevent them is with good education. Like, if the parent actually managed to convince them by that age, through parenting, something that we don't talk about, on why they should and why they shouldn't do certain things, right? This idea that apparently, look at this, right? In order to log in to a naughty website, you need to show your face. Like, you need to scan your face in order to prove that you're of age. In my opinion, it's not going to stop people from accessing these websites. In my opinion, it's going to normalize the notion that you need to scan your face before using the internet. That you need to log in your internet activities, what websites you browse, what you do, all of your data, to log it to a real person, so that the company knows you're not a bot, and so that they can track you and trace you. Like, for instance, imagine this, right? You're just an average guy. No one gives a shit what you're doing online. No one cares. But now imagine there's a protest. There's a trucker protest. There's whatever, right? And you become an influential leader. By some miracle. By random chance. Well, now all of a sudden, like, the government can just look up to your history. And they can see all of the naughty websites that you visited. They can see if you pirated something or not. They can see everything. And so they can link that to the press and destroy your reputation. They can find, like, various things. Oh, you pirated the software like 2 years ago. Or you talked about skimming your taxes on Discord. Whatever. You know? And that's pretty much like, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. Socialist type of justice system. You're a person that probably wants to become a judge. But unfortunately, you know, the son of a Democrat also wants to become a judge. Oh, again, they can look at your internet file. They can look at your browsing history, all your data. All of a sudden, it gets leaked to the press. This is why they're doing it. It's not to protect children. Like, go back into the past, in the last 10 years, look at all the legislation that was done to protect children, and how many of them actually protected children versus how many of them weren't grifts. But, you know, it works to the public. I mean, as long as people genuinely believe that the government can protect their children, well, why are you a father? Just let the government parent for you. And so, I actually think this is the future. I think, like, this is where we're going to end up anyway. Like, people are going to have to show ID. They're going to have to show proof of their age by doing facial scan, whatever the fuck, in order to go on the internet. This is where we're going. And so, I already embrace it. I already think, all right, everything I do online, absolutely everything, is not private. Like, the internet is like public records now. And so, I accept it. It is what it is. But I hope that we're going to get some degenerate mods now. I mean, if there are no more children on the internet, I hope that you're going to be able to get any type of smooth, any type of fetish, any type of disgusting thing that's legal. Because, well, you don't have to worry about children anymore. And so, like, you have a spot on the website for the degenerate shit, like full-on degenerate shit for adults. And then you have for the normal and pious people that shouldn't even show their ID in order to access the smooth, right? Is that a good compromise? I think it's a good compromise. Why not? The interesting thing is that this is probably going to come to the other platforms. Like, you're going to have it on Discord. You're going to have it on Twitter. I don't know how it escaped. But eventually, once it's rolled up, the question is going to become, well, can you find porn on Twitter? Yes. Okay, well, why aren't you showing your ID? Why aren't you doing a face scan before using it? Can you see porn on Discord? Yes. Then, of course, then show face. Link your account to your personal face, right? Everything you say. Take into account that if anything gets leaked to the press, you can just have like a normal conversation, or you can argue with someone. Anything can be taken out of context. You know how easy it is. Like, you take one or two sentences that maybe you said when you're upset. Oh, now that's a death threat. In some cases, in some countries, that can be prison. You know, you told someone to jump off a bridge or some shit, and you did it in a more verbose, more metaphorical way. Right? Like, now it's tied to your account. Now it's not just internet shit talk. It's not just keyboard warrior thing. This is the type of future that I see a lot of people are coveting because of safetyism. Well, I hope Big Daddy government keeps you safe. I know I don't partake into these types of conversations. Like, I limit my interactions online as much as I can, specifically because I see where this shit is going. But other people want accelerationism. Great. Me too. Push the pedal to the metal. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you on my live stream. Take care.